be able to mitigate future physical climate risk due to sea level rise and or storm surge or flooding. Do you mean to tell me that we are going to expect a small municipality to be able to produce a project that is going to mitigate global climate change in order to qualify for these funds?
The language is a standard language that they do, and it may not cover everybody, or it may say things that not everybody can respond to, but they do that in everything they do. It's just they make it directly as broad as they can make it, so it catches anybody who wants to.
Okay, but I think the way that I read it, it's saying that they have to demonstrate proposals to mitigate climate change. That is a pretty tall order for a municipality to come up with a project that mitigates global climate change.
I could say, if you put a sand barge and you build up the sand in front of your little city, you're doing something because they'll say it's been caused and it's getting more money because of the change in the climate. Yeah. So if you do something like that.
Okay. All right. No more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
On the bill,
bullshit is getting
Mr. Speaker.
On the bill, sir.
I just want to go back because we got to have another one of these bills here. I'm going to Part A, intentionally omitted. Part B, intentionally omitted. Part C, intentionally omitted. There's no talk of funding because we don't have any appropriation bills. We continue to vote on bills that enact a budget that we haven't even seen yet. There's no fiscal plan. There's no financials here. This is one heck of a way to run a state of nearly 20 million people. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lopez is, there he is. What's missed you, sir?
Thank you. I was reaching out for a lifeline here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. But would Mr. Farrell yield?
Mr. Farrell yields.
So I just want to follow up just briefly on the portion that my colleague was talking to you about the transfer of the marketing orders from Ag and Markets to ESDC.
Do me a favor, talk a little lower. You're talking in a little.
I'll talk a little lower.
Yeah, talk louder.
I'm a tenor. I can't talk much lower.
Yeah.
Project higher. I'll project.
Yeah,
I'll pretend I was on the first bill. So ESDC is set to take over the marketing orders from Ag and Markets with this legislation. It's my understanding there's a sunset provision.
Yes.
So, and that's 2 years, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I know there's been some concerns from Farm Bureau and others that it would be lost with the transfer from Ag and Markets to Empire State Development. Could you tell me what the role of the Ag and Markets Commissioner would be with this transfer? Does the Commissioner maintain significant engagement with ESD as this shift occurs?
Every function that the Commissioner's had in the past, he will continue to have now, after this bill passes.
So in relation to the marketing orders and ESD's administration, will Ag and Markets still, I haven't caught that part in the language yet, will Ag and Markets play a predominant role in assisting ESD?
Yes, the Commissioner will be there, so we assume they will.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to shift gears quickly to Part U. Page 30, we have the climate change account. And I understand that there's some 32 million of EPF funds that are being dedicated for stream stabilization, flood resiliency, et cetera. My question for you comes from my experience in flooding in my region from Irene and Lee. So the 32 million for capital projects, these state funds through EPF, do we envision or do we know if there's flexibility in the use of these funds to serve as local match for greater federal funds that may be part of a given project? And I'll use an example. In my home county, we have a $24 million stream stabilization project, which is, for that region, is very significant. The match is beyond the ability of the of the county to afford. It was a 50% match. State funds are being used to offset local match requirements. So my question would be, for this project and others where the sponsor, likely to be a local government, finds projects that are too expensive, can these state funds be used as a match for NRCS or FEMA funds?
The funds can be matched if necessary.
So just to be clear, so if a town received a $2 million grant, and there's there are federal funds that go with it that have a match requirement, could the state funds be deemed to substitute as the local match?
Yeah. If DEC says you can do it, yes, you can.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On the bill, Mr. Speaker.
On the bill, Mr.
So
Lopez.
just briefly on those two items, again, the transfer of the marketing orders is a very sensitive matter, and part of the challenge is that these are grower funds. These are not really state funds. These are grower funds that are being administered by the state. And the fear is that shifting it from ag and markets, which of course is centered on farmers, to ESD, which is centered on business development, may not be a perfect match, and that there may be some loss of sensitivity to the farm community. So the challenge will be here that we want to make sure that the Commissioner of Ag and Markets plays a substantial role. I understand that there may possibly be some new entities created between Ag and Markets, maybe some subsidiary organization that manages these funds. I would like to see that possibly, if the language is not there, that there be some sort of chapter amendment that cements the role of the commissioner in any subsidiary company or organization that may be formed, more than just a memorandum of understanding, something that anchors the role of the commissioner strongly in the exercise of administration of these funds by ESD. Secondly, on the climate change piece, I understand that the chairman was speaking about the support of DEC to allow funds to be a match. I can tell you that for many small communities, and maybe not so small communities, the local match for many of the federal funds, particularly NRCS and FEMA funds, can be daunting and may prevent a community or organization from being a sponsor. So I would suggest that if language is not there, which I didn't spot here, if there's any way to codify that language and make clear that the state funds could be deemed, whether it's by DEC or some other entity, as substituting for local match, that could go a long way in helping these projects get forward. Otherwise, they may stay away from it for lack of the ability to afford these projects. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
We'll call and see if he's there. Mr.
Mr. Friend? Mr. Friend going once? All right. Read the last section.
This act shall take effect immediately.
The clerk will record the vote.
Mr. Engelbright to explain his vote.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've been listening for the last hour or so as a number of comments have been made critical of parts of the bill before us. I believe that many of those comments are accurate because this is a very, very complex array of issues. I want to explain my vote in the affirmative because there's a lot that's really worthwhile that's part of this as well. First, the amount of $300 million for the Environmental Protection Fund reestablishes a baseline of expectation for investment each year into the environment. It is a very substantial, more than almost $140 million increase over last year. That's substantial and it's significant. And the way that those monies have been invested are also significant. I visited with Mr. Steck this summer, for example, and learned a great deal, thank you for instructing me, a great deal about the need in the North Country for dealing with invasive species. Well, that money that we see here, the $2 million, is part of the harvest, if you will, of information from that particular investigation. And it's not limited to that. There's money in here for a statewide testing program for lead in our schools. And of course, a $14 million sum, which I believe is a beginning in the climate change account of really taking on the largest issue facing our state and indeed our nation. This is a worthwhile step forward. I recommend that we all vote yes, and I am going to support this as well. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Mr. Engelbright in the affirmative. Are there any other votes? Announce the results.
Ayes 106, noes 30.
The bill is passed. Mr. Morelli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We're going to take a break and have people back at 8:30. So with that, I move that the Assembly stand in recess till 8:30 p.m.
Assembly stands in recess till 8:30 p.m.